Praised be Jesus Christ. This is Father Lorenzo, IVE missionary in Kazakhstan. Today, 17th of July, we read the Holy Gospel according to Matthew, chapter 11, verses 28 to 30. Jesus said to the crowd, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Jesus said once, "Come, follow me." And in another occasion, he said to the crowd, "Take my yoke upon you." What is a yoke? It's an instrument made of wood which goes around the neck of horses or cows to pull something. Usually the yoke is made for two animals. When Jesus says, "Take my yoke upon you," he is saying, get into the yoke with me. If you want to follow me, you have to get into the yoke next to me. This means that when you put the yoke around your neck next to Jesus, you start to look at the world like Jesus. And so you will look at the Father the way Jesus looks at the Father. In the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus said, "Good Dad, I don't want to do this. I'm afraid. It hurts. But that will be done." How different would be our prayer if we look at the Father that way. But when we get in the yoke next to Jesus, we also look at other people like Jesus. In the book of Jason Evert, Saint John Paul the Great, in the introduction, there's a story of Saint John Paul II when Bishop Robert Brown met him during a visit at the Vatican in 1983. The Pope, when he saw him, told him, "I think we have met before." But the bishop answered, "No, Holy Father, I would have remembered meeting the Pope." "I believe we have," said the Pope. But Brom was equally sure they had not. Several days later, the secretary of the Pope, Monsignor Stanislav, told Bishop Brom, "Don't argue with the Pope. He remembers when he met you." In November 1963, outside the Church of the Jesuit in Rome, 20 years before. Bishop Brom recalled that he was in Rome that year. He was still a seminarian. The Pope at that time was Archbishop of Krakow. One day Brom and several of his fellow seminarians were exiting the Church of Jesus, and Bishop Wojtyla was entering with a group of Polish seminarians. So the two met briefly, and subsequently Brom forgot about the encounter. The bishop asked the secretary, "How can he do that? How could the Pope remember this?" And the secretary, Stanislav, answered, "Because for him, every encounter with another person is an encounter with Jesus himself." If we look at the Father, if we look at others the way Jesus does, things will be transformed. The problem is that we sometimes don't want to be transformed. We want to be just like everyone else. We want to remain in our mediocrity. and we have the temptation to mix with the world. But we have been chosen to be like Jesus. St. Paul writes to the Romans, I urge you, do not be conformed to this age, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. I go to Mass, I pray. Why am I not transformed? Well, what do you do the rest of the week? What do you do the time outside of your rosary? Outside the Mass? What do you read? What do you watch on TV, on internet? Which are your conversations about? What kind of music you listen to? The things I think about, the things I choose, the things I love had to be transformed. Everything. Our goal is to look like Jesus. To be like Jesus is to live so free and so courageous to change the world like the saints did. May Mary Most Holy help us to take the yoke of Jesus upon us. Look upon God the Father as He did. Contemplate Him, love His will, and see Jesus Himself in our neighbor, giving our lives to serve Him in our brothers and sisters. Be transformed. Transform our lives into the image of Christ.
If you found this video fruitful, please feel free to share it with a friend or family member. Or if you would like to learn more about our missionary priests throughout the world and how to support them, please visit iveamerica.org. Thank you for watching, and God bless.